We have 2 more events coming up. This series, Looking into the Future, is 3 events throughout the year, this one being the first on public safety, and we've got law enforcement on the panel today. The next session will be, and you want to maybe mark your calendars, we hope to see you there, which will be Tuesday, April 29th, same time, different place, College Hills Church of Christ, and that session will be focused on education, academic safety, and growth. The third session will be in September, and again, if you want to mark your calendars, Tuesday, September 23rd, that will be at Providence Church, and that will be also on public safety, and it'll be focused on fire and emergency management services. So we hope you enjoy all of this and learn something this year and get to meet some new people. I'm honored to introduce the panelists that are on the stage today. We have, let's see, I don't know if I'm going to go, well, I'll go in order here. So we have Chief Mike Henderlight with Watertown Police, Sheriff Robert Bryan with the Sheriff's Office, I'll do in a minute, Chief Mike Mullins from Mount Juliet, and Deputy Chief Tyler Chandler, Mount Juliet, and Chief Mike Justice, not Chief Mike Justice. Murray, Captain Murray. Well, that was a trick question for me. So, and then I am also honored to welcome our moderator today, which is my boss, Wilson County Mayor Randall Hutto. Thank you.
Thank you, Susan. And let's give Susan a round of applause because she does all the work to make this happen. I would invite all of our people that are in the back. We'd love for you to come and have a seat in the front if you want to or feel comfortable enough to do that. And it is my honor to bring this group together. I'm thankful that Christy Hafner with the Wilson County Television is filming this so that we can get this out to more people, because the goal of the day really is to let our public know what goes on behind the scenes to keep our community safe. You know, many times we read different things that are happening in our community and we may wonder or question what's happening, or we just feel safe and we don't think anything about it, and we know there's plenty that goes on behind the scenes. I'm glad that Captain Murray came, because otherwise I thought you had to be a Mike to be a chief, you know, Chief Mike Justice, Chief Mike Henderlight, and I know you're not a Mike, and I answer to you, and Chief Mike Mullins. But so Captain Murray, thanks for being with us today, and of course Deputy Chief Tyler Chandler. I appreciate these men taking the time to be a part of today. And you know, I opened up the paper on Saturday, and as you look at the front page of the paper, it says Lebanon officer wins public servant award, and that was Captain William Glover. Is Mr. Glover in the audience here? He's not here, but so he did that on the first page, and then on the bottom of it, it says Mountain Juliet PD and Wilson County Sheriff's Office chased down and arrest 2 stolen car suspects. I opened to the inside page, and it said Lebanon PD finds missing out-of-state teens, and then right beside that, Lebanon PD quickly tracks down stolen car. And then on the bottom, Mountain Juliet police second car chase leads to another arrest and another suspect. So there's no question that public safety is an issue and something that I think we can feel proud of in Wilson County, and that's what today's all about. And as you think through what we talk about today, you will retain that knowledge, we hope. But what we really hope is that when you hear rumors and conversations out at the coffee shop and social media starts wearing something out or whatever, that you're able to give the correct knowledge maybe. Sometimes people are misinformed, so that is a whole lot of what we have today. So as we start conversation today, the need to feel important is safe. We realize it doesn't just happen. A lot of planning goes on behind the scenes to keep our environment safe. And so what I would like to do is kind of start around here, and I'm going to start with Chief Mike Henderlight. And Chief, if you will, then we'll just go around. Tell us who you are, what you represent, how long you've been in that position, and maybe what is the strength of your organization?
My name's Mike Henderlight. I started my career in 1995, 96 in Jefferson County, and have continued to now. I've been in this position as chief for 1 year. Some of the values that we put on it is our ability to talk and communicate with our public. Us being so small, us getting to see the business owners every day, the citizens, be at the local places, There's a lot of questions asked at those roundtables, at those old timers and fishing stories that we can kind of settle some of those things right then.
Yes, I'm Sheriff Robert Bryan, and I'm the old guy in this bunch, I believe, except for the mayor. I started my career in 1989 with the Lebanon Police Department and worked there for 10 years and moved over to the sheriff's office after 10 years. And I was elected sheriff in 2012, and I've seen things change drastically over my career, and they'll continue to evolve, they'll continue to change. The training will be better, different all the time, and we just got to stay in front of it. As far as the strengths, I want to go back to say the strengths are the employees that work for me, that work for you. They don't work for me, they work for you. And the old saying is, you know, they're milking the cow, I'm just holding the bucket. So it's the strengths are the my employees and all county employees and all police department employees, that they're keeping you safe, and we do have a safe county.
Can you give us a little bit of a insight on the roast that you're going to be a part of?
Go buy a ticket and you'll hear it. Kiwanis Roast, April 8th. Go buy a ticket.
Thank you, Sheriff, for doing that. And Chief Mullins?
That's awful brave, Sheriff, to put yourself in front of that.
I talked to Mike Justice yesterday, and y'all all the same law enforcement a lot of times don't want to get roasted, you know. It's sort of, you never know what's going to be said.
Well, if you watch that Tom Brady roast, you might change your mind. But so I started my career in Mount Juliet 27 years ago. I came in as a dispatcher and worked my way through just about every department we have. Not saying that the sheriff's the old guy on the stage, but I had the privilege of sitting in front of Coach Hutto when I was a freshman in high school as he was teaching at Lebanon High School. So I've known Coach for a very long time. Probably the easy answer for everybody up here on the stage is what's the strength of our agency is going to be the people that work for us and that serve you. Because we all serve different communities in this county. We have different leadership philosophies. We have different policing philosophies because we have to, based on the communities that we serve, the geographic, the distance we have to cover. So each one of us have to not only find the right employees, but we have to find the employees that buy into the way that we police, because you might be an excellent police officer, but not fit with our agency. You may be an excellent deputy, but not fit with his agency. But the big thing is finding the officer that fits with what we do and serves our community. That's the asset for us.
Hey, good morning, everyone, and thank you to Mayor Hutto for hosting this event just to get our information out about what public safety is doing in Wilson County. But I'm Tyler Chandler. I'm the deputy chief at Mount Juliet and been blessed to serve my community that I grew up in for almost 21 years. And blessed to work with Chief Mullins as we lead a department of amazing men and women who do such amazing work that keeps our city safe. I get to see the work that they do every day, and I'm just proud of what they do because they truly go out there and they deal with dangerous people. And just like Mayor Hutto mentioned in the news article that he was reading, just last week they encountered a 17-year-old armed with a handgun with a ski mask in a stolen car from Nashville who committed an armed carjacking. And those are dangerous people, and you don't know exactly what that person's going to do. So the men and women in our department who risk their life, put their life on the line to go out there and keep our community safe is awesome. I would also, just add with our people is just the community. We wouldn't be able to do what we do without the support of our community, right? And we know we have to have the backing of our community to continue to serve and protect like we do. And if we ever lose that, we lose our ability. So we don't take the support lightly, and we're going to do everything we can every day to maintain that support and trust in our department. Thank y'all.
Well, good morning. As it's been clarified a couple times, I'm Captain Tim Murray of the Lebanon Police Department. Thank you, Mayor Hutto. I also attended his history class in high school and was briefly on his basketball team till he explained to me that probably was not my career path, so I chose a different path besides basketball, but enjoyed my time, learned a lot. I've been with Lebanon Police Department for 20 years. I served in many capacities, and I agree with the other gentleman here. It's always going to be the people are your greatest strength. But I would also have to say, not just the men and women in uniform, they are immensely important, but it's the people behind the scenes as well, your records clerks, your dispatchers, your civilian staff. We couldn't do what we do without them, and obviously we couldn't do what we do without funding. Policing is increasingly expensive to operate, and having a city council and a mayor that provides you with the resources you need to be a good police department also makes us very strong.
Thank you, Captain. You know, as we talked about, it seemed to be a common thread here that everybody said their strength was their personnel. If you're involved in law enforcement in any way in here, would you please stand right now and let us recognize you and give you a round of applause? We have several of them here. Thank you. We do appreciate what you do, and I was going to say this at the end, but I'll say it now. You know, when you think about a law enforcement officer, that they see many things that many of us just watch on TV. They see it in real life and in real danger. And then it's a calling, I think, to answer that call to be a police officer, to work in emergency services. And then your family knows every day when you go out, you may not come home, which is a lot different from the rest of our jobs. And so, again, from the bottom of our hearts, we thank you and enjoy this time of trying to highlight what you do and the sacrifices you make. Traffic, guys, has always been a topic in Facebook, in coffee shops, and there's no question with the amount of growth that we've had in our county that traffic was going to be an issue. Tell us a little bit about what you're doing in your jurisdiction to kind of help with that traffic overflow. Sheriff, I'll start with you.
Yes, this is a major topic throughout the county. Everybody in this room knows, you know, the traffic has gotten heavier and heavier every day, and it's, you know, we get complaints about speeders, different reckless driving, different areas throughout the county. It's not just one area. We answer calls daily as far as it relates to that. But what we've done as a sheriff's office, we've established a designated traffic division who goes to these areas when we get complaints, and they'll focus on them areas for a few days. And everybody needs to understand, you know, the most important road to you is the road right in front of your house. But there's 150,000 people living this as a population. They're all important to us, and we focus on them areas daily. As far as, and we also established a directed patrol unit who can assist in all traffic calls and things like that to go in there and at least slow them down. Highway 109, it's a big topic. I know it's been all over the news. It is. It's a racetrack. It's a dangerous road. We've stopped cars out there doing 85, 90 miles an hour. And they've lowered the speed limit, us and the state, and we're working with our partners, Lebanon PD and different ones, to slow people down. And it's a work in progress. It's a new road, but the thing about 109 is there's so many roads coming out into 109 that really affects how dangerous it is. So we're out there, we're in all areas of the county, and we'll continue to do that, try to slow people down.
Yeah, like the sheriff talked about with Highway 109, we have similar situations with the area directly in front of Providence and Highway 70. But things you need to think about, a lot of that traffic that's on Highway 109 is people that are coming out of Gallatin, people that are coming out of Hendersonville, and they're coming through Wilson County to get to I-40 to avoid that I-65 traffic or the I-24 traffic. We have the same issue. There was a study done recently because we're continually trying to improve our traffic. I give a lot of credit, like Tim said, to our Board of Commissioners where they're trying to expedite the Central Pike interchange. We're trying to add another access for people to get to I-40 without having to drive directly in front of Providence where I live, and I would appreciate that. But I think it was like 80-something% of the afternoon traffic and the morning traffic that comes through Providence is coming from Laverne and coming from Murfreesboro and coming from Smyrna. And all that traffic is coming in because they have such a mess out on I-24. It's much quicker for them to cut across Hobson Pike, across the bridge, hit I-40, and them to get into Nashville from that direction. So we have all this traffic coming from outside areas, and that Central Pike interchange is going to be a great thing for us once we get it going. Our Board of Commission has already put up $25 million to expedite that with TDOT, so I'm hoping that gets going. But some of the other things, like the sheriff talked about with the traffic unit, we have traffic units that really focuses on those mailboxes in front of your house for neighborhood stuff, stop signs. We get the same complaints. But doing a study in our area, the vast majority of the calls for crashes in our city is this right here. And everybody in this room has one of these in their pocket. Our problem with that is people are driving down the road, trying to send an email, trying to send a phone call, trying to tell people they're running late because they cut through Mount Juliet traffic. If you can stay off your phones, I mean, speeding is a constant concern, but that tends to be in a neighborhood. But our crashes on our main thoroughfares is normally going to be due to distracted driving.
Yeah, so I would agree, with both Sheriff and Chief Mullins. We've done the same with the directed patrols, and we have a traffic unit that is solely to enforce speeding. And as I was looking at the numbers, I was a little surprised because, we joke that you can get on the interstate and get to Nashville faster than you can drive from this side of town to, 109 going down West Main. It's just the volume of cars. But as I said with the numbers, we actually only had 44 more vehicle crashes in 24 than we did in 23, and only 1.7% increase in crashes overall. So the crashes aren't a significant increase whatsoever, but it's just the number of cars and the inconvenience of citizens trying to get from one place to the other, which, cell phone, but people also seem to get very agitated with traffic, and we get a lot of what they call road rage incidents. So, my plea would be patience. Only so many cars can fit on the road at one time, and we have no control over the size of the roads or, the new constructions. We're just tasked with trying to keep people safe, and, we use radar trailers. Some people call them speed trailers. If we have an area people are complaining about, that'll post, I'm sure you've seen them, where it says you're going 50 miles an hour and you're supposed to be going 30. Those record data, and we can pull that in and see, okay, from 5 to 6, we have more speeders on this road than we do from 12 to 2, so we can take that patrol and say, okay, hey, from 5 to 6, go to this street, and let's slow some people down. So that's a few things we've done.
So we don't have 109 in our jurisdiction, but we do have Sparta Pike. Our major traffic thing has been with the schools, ingress, out, in and out. The roads are narrow. Thank goodness they were able to listen and realize that we needed to put some of the cars during the morning or afternoons in the parking lots that are empty to keep them off the roads, because basically what we were doing was creating a one-way road, and you still have traffic no matter what, just not, picking up kids, letting them cross the street to get to their cars. It's just so unsafe. So we remedied that with putting a lot of the car riders waiting inside the parking lot at the school. So that put 3 lines of cars off of the main road, so that left that open. And again, that's most of our traffic's in the morning during school, letting them out, and in the evening picking them up. Sparta Pike stays pretty clear unless there's a wreck, but we're able to get most of those wrecks off the roadway. We don't have, good Lord, we don't have a lot of fatalities, so that's a great thing for us. But that's 90% of our traffic issues or concerns have been at the schools, and that's really, we've tried to combat that. We have an officer out flagging traffic. The school board provides 2 officers during the mornings and afternoons, and if they're not there, we do it. But it still makes it really hard because we had a situation the other day we had to respond to emergency traffic to, and all the kids, everybody's lined up going up Newtown Road. Well, here we are, we have to go up the wrong side. So, we still have some issues that we're trying to get worked through.
You think about each jurisdiction has those roads of complications. Sparta Pike being one of those, and that you have a lot of traffic coming in and out of your cities, and so they have to slow down coming through there. And I know you guys try to make sure that happens. And 109, as the sheriff talked about, and that we were a part of that development with that road. And probably the biggest issue there is people look at it and think it's just like 840 and I-40 because it looks just like an interstate. But both of those don't have side road entrances that are entered and exited into 109, and so that becomes an issue. You talked about Providence. But I want to, we talk about the speed, but I want to ask one more thing before we go to the next question. I know that there's been a lot of progress made in traffic lights and synchronization and stuff. Can any of y'all talk about what you've done there to kind of help control traffic?
Yeah, so in our community, they continue to update our traffic signals with this advanced system that basically it has cameras on every intersection, and it counts the cars, the number of traffic, and it'll actually adjust. So when there's a heavy flow, say north or southbound on Mount Juliet Road, it'll increase that flow. By time of day, by whether school is in session or not, or traffic, the rush hour, morning and afternoon, and it's constantly adapting to what's occurring. Even if there's a crash that blocks traffic, the system will know to start sending traffic and routing that another direction. Ongoing projects with our public works team is they're putting in surveillance cameras at every intersection so they can have someone at the back office to monitor to ensure that the traffic signals are functioning properly. And if they're not functioning properly, they can log into the system remotely, right, and start to change it and adapt it so it does flow. So, Mayor, there's always a continuing battle to keep traffic flowing, definitely in Mount Juliet, just because of the congestion that we have, the infrastructure, the road infrastructure that we have, because as you leave Mount Juliet, you enter state roads that Mount Juliet has no control over, right? We rely on the state to widen those roadways. So we as a city are doing everything we can in our power to keep traffic moving throughout the community.
And I've heard a lot of conversation at the Christian with the Lebanon as well about that's been a positive of being able to remotely control those red lights and stuff. Anything you want to add to that, Captain?
Yeah, I would just add that some of the new traffic lights also have technology that they can hear a siren from law enforcement or fire department or ambulance, and they will actually change. They will stop the traffic in the opposite direction so that the law enforcement has the right of way to avoid collisions or congestion. So those are some new things with traffic lights also that are really helpful.
Thank you for that. So technology has been mentioned a little bit here as we talked about how that has enhanced and helped us a little bit. But I know there's other things that you guys have done as far as enhancement of safety and protection of all of our citizens. Can you give us a little bit of insight? I know you can't tell us everything, but maybe how technology has been used in other areas in law enforcement, and maybe answer the question, should I be scared of AI or should I be worried about license plate readers? I hear that conversation all the time, and Chief Mullins, I'll start with you.
Yeah, so I look at AI, I use it just about daily with my work as with the police department or my work when I will do some side work with Cumberland. I use AI just about daily. And I don't know in the future if we're headed towards some Skynet, Sarah Connor situation, but I look at AI very much like you would look at a hammer. In the right hands, a hammer can build something very beautiful. It can be positive. We have Clearview AI in the back of the room that is helping us with facial recognition and solving crimes and all the positive things that we can do to enhance time, response times. And I know the mayor said that there's a up and coming event with EMS and fire, and the ability to get medical people to you quicker with using AI. Doing these a lot. I ain't gonna lie, AI writes a lot of my speeches. It puts my syllabus together for Cumberland. So it has a lot of positive things, but in the wrong hands, that hammer can be destructive. In the wrong hand, that hammer can tear down and do the wrong things. You know, some of the things, should I be scared of AI? Deputy Chief Chandler will talk here shortly about some of the crime trends that we're seeing. And, you know, fraud is one of the biggest things that we see. And it's a lot of elder fraud and stuff like that. And is anybody in the room, raise your hand, if you've got a phone call recently and it just said hello, and you said hello, and then it said hello again. That's mapping your voice. That's someone using AI to map your voice. And what they're going to end up doing with that, what they hope to do with that, Mayor, I know you have grandchildren, and you know, it may be a day that the mayor's phone rings and it's going to say that it's a call from his grandchild, and it's going to be his number, that number on his phone, and when he answers the phone, it's going to be his grandchild's voice, real voice, on the other side of that phone, and they're going to be in a panic, and they're going to be screaming, they're going to be crying, they're going to be upset, and they're going to say, you know, Granddad, I need $150. I'm broke down on the side of the road, and the tow truck driver won't get me off the side of the road until I pay him. I need you to send me $150, and can you do it over the phone and maybe use cryptocurrency? Don't ever do that. But, and that's what AI is, they're using AI for all these fraudulent things, hacking into your account. So there is an absolute negative side to AI. But at the end of the day, it's going to be a good versus evil situation. Good people with AI is going to do great things with AI, and they're going to combat some of these negative people that are using AI. We use AI on a daily basis with investigations, with the traffic counters or these traffic signals. We're using AI for everything. But it's a real thing. I know the father of AI came out, I mean, he won a Nobel Prize for creating AI, and he came out recently and with some warnings and his concerns of what AI can do. But it boils down to a good versus evil thing, and the good people doing good things and bad people are going to do bad things, and we just got to make sure that we got more good people than bad people.
I want to highlight a little bit on the license plate readers and just the advancement of technology for law enforcement, and it is rapidly advancing. The tools we have today, we didn't have 5 years ago. We didn't even have 3 years ago. And with our license plate reader program, it has been tremendous in keeping Mount Juliet safe. We have 52 of these cameras all through Mount Juliet, and if you're curious of what they look like, the flock vendor is in the back. He has a camera visible. Go check it out just to see what it looks like. But they're at all of our entrances and exits and at our main intersections throughout the city. And since we put them in, our numbers that affect our community members have dropped drastically. So theft from vehicles down 67%, cars stolen is down 54%. Those numbers are absolutely huge in what this technology does. And when we put license plate readers in, our biggest problem that we were combating was coming out of Nashville. The Nashville criminal element, they were stealing cars, becoming mobile, then they were driving those cars to suburban communities, right, all around Nashville. Mount Juliet, we just happened to be one of those communities. And so they were coming in, they were breaking into cars, finding unlocked cars, looking for guns and keys to take the cars or take the guns, and then going back into Nashville and committing more crime. We needed to find a solution for that, and our solution was license plate readers, and that's when you saw the drastic drop. So every day, just last week, we had back-to-back what we call LPR hits, license plate reader hits, that our officers had to engage in. These suspects typically run from us. They don't care about the car they're driving. It's stolen, right? They don't want to get caught, so they're going to try to run. So our tactics have advanced over the years, and our officer may see the stolen car, but we're not going to engage it yet until we have a plan in place to stop the stolen car. So we are also very successful in our apprehension of these people driving stolen cars and getting them apprehended and in custody. The two incidents you saw last week that are in the paper, the suspects ran from us. We didn't give chase. Chases at times are very dangerous, and we have to make a decision. Is it worth the chase, or is it worth to apprehend the bad guy? And if it's not a serious violent crime, we are probably not going to chase that car. But the LPR gives us advance notice. We're able to get more officers in place. We're able to communicate with the sheriff's office and their deputies, And all of us working together with the sheriff's office, our police officers, the deputies and the officers, took 2 separate incidents back to back and got 3 people into custody that ran on foot from us, right? So technology was used in the LPR. Canines were used to apprehend the suspects, but we also used a drone in the second incident along with the canine. And so that's where I think you're going to see the next advancement in law enforcement technology is us using drones, where the drones will automatically launch off headquarters or fire stations, and they respond to incidents way before the police officer ever gets there. It'll help us find missing children, missing people. It'll help us quickly find suspects that run from us, because that drone is going to be immediately overhead within 90 seconds of any serious call for service of violence, and reporting video back straight to our officers in the car, on their MDTs, on their cell phone that they carry, and back into dispatch. And the pilots for those drones are sitting in our dispatch center. You know, the dispatch center is no longer just an emergency communications center. It's an integrated emergency communications and crime intelligence center, because our dispatchers now are crime analysts doing a lot of the research, looking at the LPR, looking at the AI, but also now looking at the drone video and the drone footage that's coming back. And it also will lead, that type of stuff will lead to less violent interactions between suspects and officers, right? Because the more intelligence, the more information you can provide an officer, the safer it is for the suspect and the officer. Meaning, if we know a person has a gun in the backyard and we can see that on the drone video, our officers aren't going to approach that situation and escalate it. They're going to approach it differently, right? We can call in special teams to deal with that, and we can hopefully de-escalate that situation so that person isn't armed. And we can, you know, any type of armed encounter between a suspect and an officer can end up deadly for either the officer or the suspect, right? So you're going to see this technology truly make it safer for our teams, but also our community members and even the suspects that we deal with. So, you know, if I had a crystal ball, we'll probably have a drone program in 2 years that automatically responds to calls for service in our community, and that's our hope. It also saves tax dollars, right? A drone program is a lot cheaper than hiring an officer, providing a car, providing training, right? A drone program doesn't bring other issues you have with people, because people are imperfect, right? And you have to find ways to lead them properly. And a drone program, you really don't. So, exciting times.
Thank you. I'm going to say we shouldn't call on Mount Juliet first for any more questions, because they give all the answers on technology. So, but no, they covered it well. You know, LPRs and facial recognition. The drones, you know, we have drones with thermal imaging that we use, especially if there's a missing juvenile. That's real crucial on response time. We can send that, and if it's at night, you know, they can see the thermal imaging of if they run in the woods. I think one of the most obvious ones that we don't think about anymore, just because it's been around a minute, is the body cams. You know, that technology, I think, has brought the community and police officers together with some transparency, trust. We've been able to gain trust because we can show, hey, what that person said we did, we really didn't do. Here's the video, you know. So I think that's been great technology. We've also, a couple years ago, bought what they call a 3D crime scanner that you can take to a crime scene, and it scans the area and puts it in a 3D mapping software that I think I saw General Head of DA's office love to be able to go into court with something like that. And training-wise, we call it a Milo machine, but most people would describe it as a shoot, don't shoot scenario based. It's like a huge video game where our officers can get in front of this big screen and they have basically a toy laser gun. And a scene will play out in front of them with real actors on the screen, and we can judge how they respond to tense situations, whether it's a domestic situation, somebody pulling a gun, somebody not pulling a gun, and how they react. And we're able to train them in real life scenarios on how to respond. So,
Well, I'd love to add to this, but as you well know, Mount Juliet wraps it up and then Lebanon finishes it. But we do have some LPRs, and they have been a great tool for us just to let us know what's going on. And they've also been a tool for us to be able to share with the Sheriff's Department. When they give us something, we can put it in our system. That tag comes through our area. We can let them know. You know, our area is so big that, you know, when you blink, you're through it. So those cars running 80 and 90 that are stolen, they're usually the Sheriff's Department gets them, or the cab or somebody up that way. But we do have the technology that they speak of. We also have the drone system. You know, the unique thing about us is we have 3 schools in less than half a mile with each other. We have a middle school, elementary, and a high school. So, you know, our whole community is like within a mile. It's tight-knit. Somebody goes missing, you know, it's a lot. You know, if we don't have some of the tools that they speak of, and we're slowly catching up, you know, it's very hard to track somebody when you only have one person on duty. You have to involve the community, and that's when I spoke of first earlier about us getting out, saying hi to the community. We have to make sure our community's on our side to help us in instances like this. You know, the Sheriff's Department always comes, but what if they're 30 minutes away? That's 30 minutes of time we don't have to waste. So that's why it's so important for me and my community and my guys and ladies to be so involved in the community for the help.
Yeah, technology is a big major topic in law enforcement today, and it's continually every day. What we see today, a year or two from now, will be obsolete. There'll be a new toy out there. Some of the things that's already been mentioned by all the chiefs is, you know, talk about the body cameras and the in-car cameras, the video cameras. We recently, as of last year, installed body cameras and a new in-car camera system. And you know, at first I was, you know, I had to get out of my old school mindset, and these cameras are not only to protect the citizens, they're protect the officer, because the complaints we got, you know, for years was, you know, such and such deputy did this, such and such officer did this, and you show these people that on the camera, apparently what they say happened ain't on the camera. So it's a transparency thing. It's really helped us. It's helped the deputies out there, and I know it helps the police departments. So that's a big thing, and that technology continues to evolve, and it will continue to do the same. Drones, we actually have three different drones in our fleet. Lifesaver. You can put one of them drones up in a missing person, a wanted person, elderly person missing, and lifesaver. They got thermal imaging, and you know, I can sit here all day and talk about the success stories we've had with them. So I see that technology growing, not with just the police departments, but the sheriff's office. License plate readers. I commend Mount Juliet and Lebanon. Mount Juliet was the first one in the county, I think, to put LPRs in Mount Juliet. Lebanon followed, and you know, I was on. You know, we have a lot of rural areas in the county outside the city, and as of 2 years ago, we was able to, through a state grant, to put LPRs on every road leading into the county, at the county lines. So this entire county, all the cities, is completely covered with LPRs. Now, should we be scared of LPRs? No. LPRs are there for public safety. They're not sitting there keeping an eye on what you're doing, or what you're having for supper, or what you're maybe shouldn't be doing, just the criminals, okay? So don't be scared of this. I hear all this every day. You know, I'm sure I'm gonna get into border and drugs and all this here in a little bit, but we've got another border, and Mountain Juliet can sit here and say it. Lebanon's having it. Watertown's having it. We've got another border. We've got a county line, Davidson County line. And they're dead set and determined that they don't like LPRs because it's going to impede on their privacy. You've got police chiefs, you've got different ones, law enforcement leaders in Davidson County saying these things will help solve crime and prevent crime. We're a prime example here in Wilson County, they do. And it's just absurd that these people in Davidson County are saying they don't like them, they don't want them. Because what they're not doing in Davidson County is directly affecting Wilson County. So if anybody out there on TV land from Davidson County, you're wrong. I can say that, I'm a sheriff. So I know Madam Chair took up all my time, but go ahead, Mayor.
Thanks for being honest, Sheriff. Appreciate that. These next round of questions, because I promised to get you out of here by 9 o'clock, anyone can answer if you want to. You don't all have to answer. But we know that things have changed in our world. Crime trends, have they changed? And what factors have driven that? And Captain Murray, I'm going to start with you.
Well, and I'd be interested to hear their opinion on this, but for me personally, you know, and I think they would agree that narcotics drives crime. I mean, and as you look back, like I remember when crack cocaine was the drug of choice. We had different crime when crack cocaine was the drug of choice. Then it was prescription pills and opioids. You know, then it switched to heroin, and now it's fentanyl. And with each one of those, there's different crime that happens with those drug trends. You know, and now for us in Lebanon, thankfully, violent crime is way down. Your homicides, your aggravated assaults, sexual assaults, those are way down, while the property crimes have increased. So I haven't seen a direct study on that, but that's just what I've seen. And of course, with the more people, especially in Lebanon, with the number of apartment complexes, comes a lot of vehicles in a small area. So if you're thinking about, hey, I want to go do some vehicle burglaries, you go fish where the fish are, right? And it's easy to hit 2 or 3 apartment complexes and you know, break into unlocked vehicles in a matter of minutes. So that's the trends I kind of see.
Anyone else want to add?
Yeah, I'll add a little bit to that, and just to highlight what the sheriff said, you know, Mount Juliet's biggest threat is our border to the west. 95% of the people that we arrest are not from Mount Juliet. And the majority of people that commit crime that's not related to domestic violence or in-the-house type crime are not city residents whatsoever. They're typically residents out of the city of Nashville or somewhere else around Wilson County. Thankfully, us as a community, we're one of the safest cities in Middle Tennessee. We bounce around between Brentwood and Mount Juliet with the lowest crime rates of combined crimes against property and crimes against persons. And those are the crimes that affect you as an individual. They affect you financially, or they affect you personally and how you're harmed, right? And those are amazing numbers for our community to have. In 2023, we were the lowest city in that type of crime in all of Nashville, and that's huge when you look at our border and what we deal with every day, and that's why we have the technology that we have to deal with that. What we do deal with continually is shoplifting. We have a major shopping area on both north and south of the interstate. So our shoplifting always continues to go up, and it's up about 37% from last year, and that's 189 crimes to 259 crimes. And like Chief mentioned earlier, fraud, it continues to go up. And mainly with our elderly, which is sad, but that's who they prey on because they know they're going to be vulnerable to what lie that they're saying. We had someone just this week give $2,500 because the Wilson County Sheriff's called them and said, if you don't send me money, I'm going to take you to jail because I have a warrant for your arrest. That is completely false. None of us are ever going to call you and ask for money in any way. And never, ever send someone money who calls you that you don't have an idea that you need to send them money. And I see some of our banking members in the audience. They're here for you. You know, those watching online or in the future video is if you ever have any question about what you owe the bank, hang up and call your actual bank. Call them and speak to someone who you know. face to face, and they'll guide you through that process, and hopefully we can continue to educate and cut down on that fraud. But the crimes that affect you as an individual, those are down all throughout Mount Juliet. And I would, again, we talked about our people earlier, and I give them all the credit. Their proactivity is about 58% of our generated crime. And that's why we're so proactive in our community. You see us through traffic stops, you see us stopping suspicious individuals. That's how we're finding a lot of wanted people. That's why we have the LPR, to find the crime before it affects our community members. And we just continue to push hard every day on the criminal influence that comes from Nashville. And just to give you another analogy in what we deal with, think of a beautiful flower bed of Wilson County. You have beautiful flowers, no weeds. Think of Nashville as a flower bed with a bunch of weeds, right? Those weeds will grow into other communities, right? And so we as a community constantly have to do the weeding to keep our community beautiful. I want to give a shout out to someone else in the audience, and that's General Lawson with our DA's office. He needs a round of applause. Because what I feel Nashville also doesn't do is hold their criminals accountable. They put them in, they release them, they put them in, they release them, and we're constantly dealing with them, right? There's a different approach, I believe, through our district attorney's office, and they work hard. Those ADAs and DA Lawson work hard every day to ensure bad people are where they need to be, right? And that's not out on our streets. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Yeah, you know, we've sat here and we talked about how good the LPRs are for the criminal aspect, but one of the things that our crime rates are different than everybody else, but a lot of the things we get is some silver alerts or things that give back and help to the community. That's not a criminal thing. You know, somebody goes missing from another county, they give us a tag number, we instantly put it in our system, they put it in their system. So, you know, it's not always just the criminal aspect of it. There are a lot of good things that come out of that as well. And taking somebody off the street is a great thing, but finding someone's the loved one that's gone missing, that's a great aspect of that as well. So our LPRs have helped us in that as well.
Yeah, I want to reiterate what Chief Chandler said. General Lawson, can you please stand up, please, for me? Let me say something about this man. When he got appointed, then elected again, he committed to being tough on crime and holding people accountable. We do our job, and he assists and his staff every day getting these cases through the court system. And I really thank you and your staff for all you do, because we're holding people accountable for what they do in this county, and we'll continue to do that. So thank you. Crime trends, each one's already been mentioned, but one was not mentioned was juvenile crime. We've got a situation with juveniles, not just in Wilson County, but all over. We're seeing an increase of juvenile crime, and really not in schools. It's out on the streets that we're seeing it. You know, you got your regular stuff in schools with SROs and things like that, but we've got juveniles out there they don't care for nothing, and it's scary. This generation that's coming through. And, you know, we're finding 12, 13, 14-year-olds with guns, and again, coming out of Metro Davidson County. So that's a major concern of mine. It's a major concern of all these police departments, but juvenile crime is something we're going to have to deal with, and because we're seeing it more and more every day.
A couple more questions, and then we'll close it up. Looking at another hot topic in our news lately is mental health issues that we deal with. And can you give us a little bit of insight on how your department has tried to help and be proactive in that area, and maybe some resources that you're using now? And Deputy Chief, I'm going to start with you.
Yeah, I'm going to pass that to Chief Mullins.
Okay.
So law enforcement's big about not reinventing the wheel, and we steal ideas from each other once we figure out that it's working. And Lebanon led the way in Wilson County with the co-responder program. They brought in, got a grant with volunteer behavioral health, and started the co-responder issue. Like the sheriff said earlier, I had to get out of my old hat ways and look into it. But you can't argue with things that, you know, percentage-wise, our largest increase in call volume was mental health calls last year. Our mental health calls increased 62% from 23 to 24. And that, you can't ignore that. So we partnered with Volunteer Behavioral Health, and we have a co-responder that comes out. And the goal of the co-responder is to find long-term solutions to people in crisis. Because prior to having these abilities, we would just respond to the same house over and over again and not know the resources that are available to help these people that are not criminals most of the time. They're just there because they're struggling with something, and they need real help to help get them out of that situation. So I appreciate Lebanon and Chief Justice and Chief Murray here for pioneering the way on that. I was just talking to Tim in the back, and we're going to partner together on something else, probably going into the budget, trying to advance our mental health programs. Some other things that we've had to do because the volume going up, and you want to handle these the appropriate way. And in years past, we would respond to someone that's in crisis, someone that's going through a manic episode, and we have to go lay hands on them, and that normally does not work out very well. So we've had to find different resources that have helped us not only protect them, but protect us, because we get into a situation, some of our knees are not as great as it used to be, and we lay hands on somebody that's in crisis, and we're the one that gets hurt. So we've brought in a series of different less lethal options to try to de-escalate situations from the co-responder to negotiators to advances in technology such as Ebola wrap. And I don't know if anybody has seen those yet, but it's some stuff straight out of the 1970s Batman show. And it's about the size of this phone. And we hold it and we point it at somebody, and it will fire a Kevlar string, and it will wrap this person up. It will wrap their arms to their side, or it will wrap their legs where they can't get away. And it allows us, and it's loud, so it does create an issue with your OODA loop as far as trying to figure out what just happened. And it enables us to move forward, to lay hands on that individual in a non-confrontational way, and for us to be able to get that person whatever help they need, whether that's a medical situation, whether that's an unhomed situation, whether it's a substance abuse issue, because people in crisis come in all different hats, and you can't look at that person anymore and know what a person in crisis looks like. So you just have to approach each one of those differently.
Last question, and we'll kind of wrap it up. We'll go full circle here. Sure. Yes, sir.
So, as Chief said, it is a game changer, a mental health co-responder. So I had to speak on this for just a second because I'm very passionate about it. Before we had one, we had two options if we arrived. You take them to jail or you take them to the hospital. That's all we could do. This third option for long-term care is, like I said, a game changer. But what really opened my eyes past that was officer mental wellness, that we can all do better at, and that we have not done a good job in the profession. And I'll just leave you with this. The average life expectancy of a United States male is 84 years old. For a police officer, it's 67. So that's 17 years difference in life expectancy. And the studies have shown most of that has to do with mental health and stress of the work we do. So, I challenge all of us to be better at watching after our men and women who go out every day and do this tough job.
Thank you. Anyone else? Last question we got that kind of wraps it up maybe is that we recently, Sheriff doubled the size of the jail and underway building a multi-level court system to kind of handle the issues of incarcerations that we take in Wilson County. What is being done for recidivism, a word I had to learn, but to keep people from coming back into the jail? And then what things are you guys doing to help them fit back into society once they leave your place?
Yes, our recidivism rate here in Wilson County is actually lower than the national standard. So we do everything we can do. And my saying is while these people are incarcerated and we have their attention, they can't go nowhere. We've got their attention. We need to do everything we can do to keep them from leaving and coming back in. And listen, we can't fix them all. And my saying is, if we can fix one, we've done something. If we fix 10, we've done something. So it just keeps them coming back in, costing taxpayer dollars. And we've got things in-house, and we're one of the few jails across the state that recently, we've had it for several years, a GED program. We're allowing inmates, the Adult Learning Center comes in and they teach the GED program to select inmates. We're one of the top numbers in the state is graduating people with GEDs, so they have an option when they go out. We have different reentry programs as it relates to, how do I get a job? Do I need resources to get, proper clothing to go to an interview? How do you fill out a job application, a resume? And giving them something so that when they walk out that door, they have something to look forward to. We also have, I can't say enough about all the religious churches and different organizations across this county that come into our jail as volunteers weekly. There's over 87 different organizations that come in there as volunteers, and they have Bible study, they have church service, you name it, and that helps us. And not only does it help them while they're incarcerated, they're able to interact with these people, so when they do get out, they can interact after they get out, and they have something out there or somebody to look toward to help them make it while they're out. So, and AA, NA, you name it. Again, we've got to do everything we can do to keep these people from coming back into the jail and into the judicial system.
Could you recognize a guy that has a large part of that? I don't want to mess his title up if it's Major.
Major David Bennett, right over here. He's my jail administrator. He plays a big role. I used to do his job. It's a difficult job, but he implemented a lot of these programs and continued some of the programs I started. But it's working, and I appreciate him and all my staff, again, of all they do for the citizens of the county.
Again, thank you so much for, Miss Debbie, you want to speak? Thank you. Again, I will try to get you out on time, but I appreciate all of this panel that came today to speak, and hopefully the information that you got was very worthy. I know it was for me just to hear. I'll tell you something else that I really am thankful for in our county is the collaboration among these agencies. I don't know that you have that everywhere. Please give them a round of applause. Yes. We have to work together, put away our territory side, and I don't know what's been in the past, but I know right now that we do that very well, and I thank you for that. Again, I challenge you to spread the good news that you've heard today. I also challenge you on what Captain Murray said, 67 to 84, pretty big difference there, and I know these guys go home at night with the weight of your safety on their shoulders. Not only do they worry about that, but then how they take care of their personnel that go out and see things day in and day out that they deal with here on a daily basis. So I would encourage you in your prayers at night to remember our law enforcement, because they're out while you're asleep, making sure that you can sleep safely and sound. Again, thank you for coming, and I hope you have a good rest of the day.